broadcasting.
All right.
We want to give people a chance to jump on.
Whatever you want.
So we're live right now on Rumble, on YouTube and Facebook. YouTube and Facebook are soon going to cancel us because we're going to talk about the things that they don't want us to talk about.
Lots of things,
And just like people are canceling Budweiser and Target, we're going to get canceled. So if you want to follow us, go over to Rumble
For different reasons.
or GAB TV.
We're not getting canceled because we're like Target. Or-
Well, because we're not like Target.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
that's why we're getting canceled, because we're not like Target. Anyway, but we have opened comments. So you can now go to those places and you can actually comment. Now, no one's done it during the show yet, but
Right.
when they do, a little sample content thing will be up here, and that'll be
very
you.
nice.
So I just want you to know that's now
whoever-
a feature.
Whoever that is.
Well, it's nobody. That's just the placeholder
just
to
a
show
guy.
that it's something we can
a
do.
guy.
But that's a new feature we've added. We have been gone a long time, and it's none of your business why.
None of your business. It's called
none of your business.
JOB. Job.
Yes. Well, and family and opportunities for
Yeah,
ministry and all
yeah,
kinds of stuff. But
yeah.
we're back.
Which are more important.
And,
Those are first and foremost.
We felt like this was a really important conversation to have, because today is the day that our governor becomes the so apparently we're not streaming to Rumble. So just as a side note, we'll get that fixed eventually.
All right.
But we're going to be streaming to Rumble. But Governor DeSantis is announcing today that he is going to run for president on Twitter. And it's kind of exciting. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a positive thing.
I think it's very exciting.
And
I just think that it's not because it's DeSantis. I just think it's exciting that this is the way it's supposed to be. There should be a primary is for multiple candidates. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
And that makes me excited. I'm not excited about the election, but because that was your opening.
no, that's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
gave you the
You're,
perfect
no,
opening.
but you're on a roll. It's beautiful.
It's
absolutely
I'm
beautiful.
not convinced we're going to have a fair election yet, ever. But
Right, and that's why it's 932 days, 12 hours, and 24 minutes since I've cared about who's running for president. So then I think a fair question to ask me would be, all right, David, then why are you talking about this? Right?
that is a fair question. Are you
Like,
going to?
why are you talking about this?
Yes.
Why would you want to tell us all about who's running for president or what you think about what they're saying if you don't care? Well, I do care, obviously, right? I mean, I care, but I don't think it matters, right? I don't think it matters until we fix our election system. Because if we don't have accurate tabulation, then what difference does it make?
But it is exciting because now we
I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
So the reason I say this
And
is
that's never mattered before in the past. I mean, like,
the reason I say this is I like to remind myself of things that are true. I think it's very important. And so I will say things that are not even like necessarily germane to the moment, but I want to keep myself from the temptation to accept the narrative, right? And so one of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to get so invested in the 2024 election that I forget that we have a tabulation problem that has not been solved. And so until that's done, I don't want to kid myself into believing, hey, we're going to win.
no, especially when
no.
we have yesterday a judge throws out Carrie Lake's case and now she's got to appeal it again when they have actual proof. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what more you need than actual proof. Is it any more clear that these judges are bought off by the drug cartels?
Right.
I mean, everybody knows it. And can we just say that out loud?
No.
The cartels
No, we can't say that out
own
loud.
these states.
No, we
They
can't.
own, because they
No, we
need to
can't.
keep
No,
those pathways open.
You can't say that.
Well,
out loud. Can't say that out
I'm
loud. You just
saying
got
it.
us canceled. So,
I'm saying
I also wanted to mention that I have added a Substack for Under the Liberty Tree,
I'm so glad you did that.
and I'd love for you to subscribe.
Yes, that's good.
I'm trying to do some more writing because sometimes I think of things at 2:00 in the morning and I can't sleep, and I don't want to go live.
And I'm not getting up at 2 o'clock.
Because my hair's all, well, I can't use that excuse. Anyway, but I wanted to talk, the reason I want to talk about this is because there are object lessons to be learned, to be appreciated, if we look for them. And one of those object lessons is that the same set of facts with a different spin can sound very, very different.
Indeed.
So I want to start with, because I'm going to present the same set of facts to you from two different sources. The first source is an article that I read in I think this is, Politico. And this article came out a little while ago, and it's a pretty long read, but I'm going to hit most of it because it is instructive for the purposes of our conversation about how the same set of facts can be spun in very different ways. Michael Kruse is the senior staff writer at Politico. And I want to share this opening with you because I think it's so illustrative of the challenge we face. Casey DeSantis, this is the opening, and this is an article about Casey. Okay, that's the key here.
That's Governor DeSantis's wife.
This is
anybody who doesn't
right.
know
This
who
is
that
an article about Casey DeSantis, and the article opens with the wife of Ron DeSantis, just a few minutes before, at a table in the crowd, had looked oddly disengaged. Now, again, this is a news story, right, or an analysis, whatever. But what does that mean? Like, who gets to determine what oddly disengaged is? Like, is there like a non-oddly engaged or disengaged? But there it is. Yeah. She's oddly disengaged, listening to him give a speech this past Saturday evening in a drab hotel conference room. Now, I think this was actually fed into the computer by this Michael Krause guy. They're using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And they have it set on Harlequin romance. Listen, here's why. Sitting somewhat stiffly, clapping intermittently, her face flat. No, here's the best part. Look. And her shoulders almost slumped. So what I was hoping you could do.
All the way,
not all the way slumped, almost slumped. Well, no, she's not actually slumped, but almost slumped.
I'm trying to watch him.
Now,
how do you do almost slumped?
This is being presented as a serious analysis of the relationship between Casey DeSantis, the wife of the governor, and the governor. Now, though having been prompted to join him up on stage, she turned in expression and tone suddenly and noticeably brighter.
She's a fake.
Well, no, it's just this is what happens.
We are fake when you can suddenly
this is what this is what happens when you put your
insinuation is that
this is what happens when you put your ChatGPT writing program on the Harlequin romance mode. This is what you get. That's a good question. She cooed. She didn't say, she cooed, thanking the head of the state Republican Party for having them and convening this scripted Q&A. Oh, it was a scripted Q&A because President Biden never does scripted Q&As before launching into a 3.5-minute stump speech of an answer. So I guess she's like, if she does a short answer, that's no good. But if she takes 3.5 minutes, that's bad. So it's either not good or bad. In which she called their husband a fighter, quote, a good dad, as if there's some evidence, like it's questionable as to whether or not Ron DeSantis is a good dad, a good person, really the embodiment of the American dream. Tracing his biography, blah, 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 blah. And then they do put the facts in. This is my point. They put the facts in. And then, again, the Harlequin romance AI kicks back in. At some point, the crowd found a place to applaud, and she had a chance to take a breath. Here then, in eastern Iowa.
Did she let her sleeve fall over her shoulder too?
And in concentrated form. So apparently that was concentrated, because there's there's Casey DeSantis regular, and then there's concentrated, right? That was a preview of what is to come about the about-to-be-announced presidential candidacy of DeSantis. Not just his run, but also, and here we go, this is the narrative, the stage-dominating prominence of her role. Okay, she's been seen as a superstar, the not-so-secret weapon. I'm going to kind of skip through this telegenic 42 policy portfolio. Again, just facts. She's every bit as involved in Ron's rise as Ron himself. David Jolly, who was, by the way, one of the guys he ran against when he ran for Congress, in shaping him and driving him. It's different, said veteran Republican lobbyist, unlike any first lady in my extended memory. Now, of course, apparently David Jolly, who is being quoted for this article, by the way, David Jolly is never quoted for any major news stream story unless he's attacking a Republican. That's the only way David Jolly ever finds himself in a news story, is if he attacks a Republican. But he says, in shaping him, driving him. Can you, honey, I know this is going to be a stretch for you, but in your, not just your regular memory, because he didn't use his regular memory, in your extended memory, can you think of a first lady who was deeply involved in her husband's policy? Is there anybody that you can think of?
It's hard to go back to my
I'm stumped.
extended memory. I only have
Dave Jolly did. Dave Jolly did it.
That takes a talent to go to
Yeah,
extended
you really need to
memory.
think hard.
Yeah.
You really need to think hard. So that was, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't Dave Jolly. That was Mac Stipavanich. So apparently we're going to hear from Mac Stipavanich. Those who have worked with her have nodded more quietly to the downside. See, they have nodded more quietly. So I guess there's like a loud nod. Could you demonstrate a loud nod? And then a quiet nod. Now just give us a quiet nod. This is passing for analysis, right?
Oh my
she is and always has been by far his most important advisor. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't the critique against men, and especially us
Yeah, I know where you're
Republicans, that we don't listen to our wives?
Yeah.
Isn't that the critique?
Yeah.
So why are we all of a sudden being treated to a story that seems to indicate that it's bad, right? This is not good that your wife is your most important advisor. DeSantis' inner circle, they say, is too small, she says, or he says, who is this now? Max Stipavanich. Wait, is Mac a man or a woman? I don't know. And it's not for me to judge, right? But it's too small because constitutionally he doesn't trust people, but she doesn't either. They don't trust people. Especially forthright are the people who are granted anonymity on account of their fear. Oh, so in other words, all the really important quotes are going to be anonymous. Now, you're absolutely silly if you for a moment think that these people didn't actually say these things. She's the power behind a throne, a Republican lobbyist told me. The tip of the spear, said a Republican consultant. So see, two sources.
Wow.
I mean, this is a well-sourced story, honey. Don't think this isn't a well-sourced story. Two different people. Who? Oh, they can't say. One in particular, during the first year, struck many of them as short-sighted. And now a possible fatal mistake, the ouster of Susie Wiles. Now, if you could guess, Susie Wiles is a Republican. Now, you'll never see this description. You'll never see that description in any environment, well-respected operative. You'll never see that description unless they're about to hit another Republican. If it's a Republican hitting a Republican, then you will see that.
Oh, yeah.
She, by the way, helped former President Donald Trump win Florida in 2016. I thought anybody who was associated with Donald Trump was an insurrectionist. But now suddenly, no problem. Again, here's my point in all of this. And I don't want to belabor this. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But I am going to show you a video that covers essentially the same. Oh, by the way, I do have to show you this. Guess who?
Come on.
Yes, guess who Casey DeSantis is.
Come on.
Yes, Casey DeSantis is Lady Macbeth.
Good grief.
The author says, this juncture, the literary analogy only goes so far. Ron DeSantis has trouble.
But it might go at some juncture.
And look, Ron DeSantis has trouble even criticizing Trump by name. So that's bad. But if he criticizes him by name, then it's just a contentious primary. But with the head-to-head battle about to begin, the role of his wife is a paramount concern to many in and around the world of DeSantis. You know, the whole Disney, there's a little Disney reference, I guess, in there. Anyway, I'm going to skip through the rest of this article.
Please, because I'm going to vomit.
Yeah, because I want to show you something. This is essentially the same set of facts that we just saw. This video is exactly the same set of facts as in the other one. And I'll link to both so you can see them. But this is the same set of facts. But this is what I would consider to be news.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to First Coast Living. I'm Casey DeSantis.
Long before she became the First Lady of Florida, Casey DeSantis was a fixture in many Floridians' homes. She was an anchor and reporter for 2 Jacksonville, Florida TV stations. But she left it all behind to raise her children and help support her husband's run for governor of Florida.
I was going to take a break from the show.
Yeah. Now, that's just facts, right?
Yeah.
The announcer, straightforward, no commentary.
Yeah.
Right? No, how would you describe those shoulders right now? Is she Possibly, maybe slightly. Is she silently nodding her head?
Slightly slumped.
So again, here goes the
I'm going to be
rest
able
of
to
it.
spend time with my family.
Casey DeSantis was born in Ohio as Jill Casey Black. She's a golf enthusiast and equestrian who graduated with an economics degree from the College of Charleston in South Carolina. She first met Ron DeSantis on a golf range at the University.
By the way, all of the facts that she's telling are in that Politico story, but you'd be hard pressed to find them.
I'm telling this story is full of white supremacy. She met
University of
they
North
met each other
Florida.
on a golf course. How much more
And
white
she
supremacy
rides
can you
horses,
get?
right?
Kept looking over my shoulder because I wanted, the bucket of balls that somebody had left. Ron's over there. And so he thinks I'm looking at him.
Was there an attraction at all to him?
Yeah, of course, he was cute.
The couple married in September 2009 at the Walt Disney World Resort. In 2010, Casey worked as a host for the PGA Tour, appearing on the Golf Channel. A couple years later, Ron DeSantis was elected to Florida's 6th congressional district, the start of his political career. Ever since, Casey has reportedly been part of a very tight inner circle, relying on her TV experience to advise her husband on media strategy and appear in campaign ads, including this memorable one.
So that's straightforward reporting. Like, that's actual news. It's
who she is,
information. It's
yeah.
relative.
Yeah.
It's relevant. Video and clips. It's read in a calm tone. It doesn't have pejorative verbs. Like, this is CNN, by the way. So it is possible for them to do this kind of reporting. They just don't want to. And pretty much, this is actually the reason I wanted to show this is credit where credit is due. CNN actually did a legitimate story. Now, I know the Trumpsters out there, the Trump fan people who just cannot contemplate or tolerate the idea that anyone other than Donald Trump deserves to run, will say that, well, they're doing that to puff him up. But that's clearly not the case because of the political story I just read.
Yeah.
This actually stands out as an exception.
One from 2018.
Build the wall.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
You want to know who Ron DeSantis really is.
More recently, Casey recorded this campaign ad for her husband, focusing on how he helped her after her 2021 diagnosis with breast cancer. She's now cancer-free.
He was there to pick me off of the ground when I literally could not stand. He was there to fight for me when I didn't have the strength to fight for myself. That is who Ron DeSantis is.
When she isn't busy with their 3 young children, Casey DeSantis can be found at her husband's
That's solid.
Yeah.
That's some solid campaign strategy.
side on the campaign trail.
Ron, again, I want you to know, is running for the right reasons. Not because he wants to be somebody, it's because he wants to do great things.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, where the disaster relief fund she oversees brought in upwards of $50 million.
All I can say is, our hearts and our prayers are with so many people who are suffering, which is why about 24 hours ago, we launched the Disaster Relief Fund.
And of course, on election night this week, as he basked in the glow of his re-election victory, the governor shining a spotlight on his wife.
And most important of all,
Now, did you catch when this video was made?
After he won the election, right?
Right after he
Yeah.
won re-election.
Yeah.
And this is CNN. And this is the key to this
Yeah.
video. This is CNN. The reason they're able to be fair with him is they're hitting reset.
Yeah.
They want to show themselves
Yeah.
as
thank you to the greatest First Lady in all 50 states. For being a great wife, giving unwavering support, being a tremendous mother to our 3 young children. She is remarkable.
Yeah. I mean,
there it is.
we've heard these criticisms of Republican women, whether they're elected or married to elected officials, for decades. Like, there's always criticism. We got criticized. I heard things behind my back because we had 6 kids, and you're like, oh, and all the gossipy, and those are from Republican women. Yeah, I'm a happy, who do not believe that I was actually a happy stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Yeah, actually, you can be a very happy stay-at-home mom and support your husband. And I get the half slumped shoulders, when you've listened to your husband give a speech for 30,000 times. You know what? You do get a little disconnected while you're sitting in the audience. Literally, it's the 300th time you've heard a speech, and you're like, your mind wanders to, do I have enough diapers at home? I don't remember. How many diapers did I have?
Yeah, I wouldn't describe that as oddly disengaged.
It's normal.
I think that would be perfectly normal.
There's just criticism, and I get it, because she always looks like she's ready for a junior Miss pageant, I think that's a legitimate, it's just, but at the same time, nobody ever criticized Michelle Obama for wearing those weird outfits, and for Hillary Clinton's pantsuits, matchy pantsuits. It's just stupid. We can always criticize Republican women for looking the traditional,
Yep.
red dress, long hair, stay-at-home mom, or stay at home for a while and then go to work. It's always, there's nothing new under the sun, and this is not a new criticism of a Republican elected official's wife who chooses a traditional marriage. And the thing is that when it boils down to it, the thing that they hate, and they'll never admit it, is that this is a happily married couple.
Yeah, and that was my point in showing this.
It's a happily married couple.
As Ron DeSantis announces today, just remember that everything that you read, everything is agenda driven. And the timing, like that CNN video, that was right after he got reelected. So they were trying to hit reset. They had been attacking him and saying it's going to be a super close race. They were so wrong about that. He won by almost 20 points, which had been a 20-point increase from 4 years prior. He was pushing a very conservative agenda through the first 4 years. He campaigned on it, and the voters loved it. And so CNN had to hit the reset button. So they took the same set of facts that Politico took 5 months later, right before the announcement, and they spun them in a different way. Everything that you're seeing is somebody's axe being ground, and you've got to be discerning. You've got to recognize those special words in there, like almost slumped or oddly distracted. Like, why is it Harlequin romance novel? Okay, just give us the facts, and when they're not going to give you the facts, then you're going to do it. I also think it's important. I'm just going to put a little plug in here, of course, for my Substack and for our channels, but also get better news sources. The Florida Standard is a great news source.
They're good.
It's one of the best news sources out there. And it's going to be especially important with the launching of this campaign. I think it's called the Florida Standard. Is that right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be especially important with the launching of this campaign, because it is going to be a place where you can get. Is this the one? I don't want to put the wrong one out.
Oh, hold on,
I don't want to put the wrong one out.
Right.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, let me just check my Twitter.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, look at your Twitter or my email address, because I get their emails. I subscribe to their emails. There's a couple of different ones, but I just want to make sure I'm getting the right one. Because
Florida's Voice.
Oh, it's called Florida's Voice.
Florida's Voice.
Okay, so that's the one I want. Florida's Voice. So I think the Florida Standard is pretty good too.
Oh, well, I follow Florida's Voice. I don't know.
Florida's Voice is a blog, though. Yeah, no, that's not the one. I think it is the Florida Standard.
Okay.
The Florida Standard.
Let me see.
About. Here it is. Let's see who it is. Sadly, the media heavily slanted against truth and fairness. And so, yeah, I think this is the one.
Yeah, I don't actually follow them, so I will
it's a
follow
good
them
one.
now.
Yeah, and this is what you got to do. You got to cultivate. It's committed to accessible, break news, fast pace, and then you get some stuff. And as I find other news sources, I'll be announcing them. I'll link to this one, and I'll link to others as well, so that you get it.
Yeah.
Nope, this isn't the one.
Oh, well, I don't.
This isn't the one. Oh no, this is Will Witt. Yeah, the Florida Standard. Okay, because Will Witt is one of the guys who's involved in this. So let me just bring this up on screen. Go ahead.
That's it. I just think that to harken back to the beginning of the episode, is that I know that a lot of Trump, look, I'm just because we live in Florida and we really love our governor.
And we know him.
And we're not saying, we're not in the DeSantis only and not Trump. Like the primary is going to play out. Tim Scott just entered the race. So that's what a primary is for. And it really bugs me that I am getting tired of Trump. I'm getting tired of Trump's, me. He's always like that. But now stop denigrating Florida just for yourself, because it's a great state. It really is. And DeSantis has done this. DeSantis did this, not Trump. And so this is supposed to be a primary. And for Trump to act like, no, this is my primary, I'm the only one who's supposed to be in here. That is not what a primary is supposed to be.
Right.
We're supposed to have multiple candidates, and you let the voters choose the candidate that they want to represent them in the general election. And so I get sick of the Trumpers who are like, DeSantis. I mean, your criticisms are stupid. And all you're doing is making mountains out of molehills.
Well, and you're making CNN's job easier. Right? You're making...
This is what a primary is supposed to be. So just let the process play out. And there's still a lot of time left.
Yep.
And so this is just the beginning. And so that's one thing that I really appreciate DeSantis is his patience. He didn't let the pressure of you gotta jump in there because Trump's in there and he keeps talking about. No, he's biding. He was
doing
biding
my
his
thing.
time. And
I know what my
doing the
plan
right
is, and I'm running it. Yeah.
Patience is the hardest thing to have in politics.
Yeah.
As a candidate.
Yeah, and it's very easy to get caught up in the moment. And that's why I remind myself that, we've got all these days since I've cared about who the president's going to be, because I think it's really important. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening.
Have a great day.
Check out the live chat.